So I'd like to welcome you to Pietro's Ranieri Agency podcast number 7. In this series of podcasts, I'm trying to get an inside track into how the coronavirus is affecting businesses globally. And today I'm pleased to have one of our Chinese clients to tell us a bit about what's going on there. So today I'm pleased to welcome Tyler Chen, International Marketing Manager for Aftershokz, a provider of open-ear bone conduction headphones. So welcome, Tyler. Welcome to the Ranieri podcast. Great to have you here.
Thank you, Pietro. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And I think it's quite late for you at the moment as well, isn't it? Is it?
It's 10 p.m. right now.
Wow. Yeah, you guys work hard. So before we get down to some industry questions, Tyler, would you mind telling us a bit about yourself and how you ended up becoming the International Marketing Manager for Aftershokz?
Sure. Actually, I'm the first marketing person for the international team of Aftershokz. And this is my first job after I graduated. And the very first project I took over was to build a company website. And after I done that, I started doing social media and digital marketing, and now I'm doing content marketing. So basically, I'm always doing the things from 0 to 1, and I'm always to explore new things for Aftershokz. And I think that is the main reason how I became the international marketing manager.
Yeah, amazing. And how long have you been at Aftershokz now then, Tyler?
I've been here for like almost 2 years now.
Oh, wow. So your role's really developed quickly from just coming in to do a website.
Yeah, I actually learned doing the work. So I learned most knowledge from our agencies. So while I'm leading the agencies, the boss always asks me to evaluate agencies' work. So the very first thing I need to solve is what's the KPI for them? And after I know the metrics to evaluate all the marketing works, I know where I should go, and I try to develop and learn the factors that would affect those key metrics. So I think that is the pretty quick way about how I learn.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, as the client or the brand, when you employ agencies, obviously the agencies are all full of experts. So I guess you can kind of learn very quickly from them. So that's good. So for the benefit of the viewers here, do you want to tell us a bit about Aftershokz and how the company was founded?
Sure. So we make open-ear headphones. And due to its open-ear feature, our customers can better enjoy a comfortable and safer music listening experience. The story behind is the founder of Aftershokz discovered that headphones has been used a lot in work and sports. And he once visited a company and discovered that employees have to use earphones for communication. And due to the long-time use of in-ear headphones is pains, and their employees have to use a tape to stabilize their headphones on their necks and ears to be able to talk with each other. And also our founder accidentally read an article in 2013 said there were about like 1.35 million people dead and injured by the road traffic safety globally. And many of them were wearing in-ear headphones to block their ears. So that's our founder said, why not make an open-ear headphones? So we have this idea, and the first thing we need to solve is the sound quality. And that's how we use the bone conduction technology. We transmit music vibration through people's cheekbone rather than eardrums. So especially when people do outdoor sports, they will have the situational awareness of approaching vehicles. And also it is more comfortable, and that is what we do.
Yeah, no, I've used the headphones obviously, and they're amazing. I still find it amazing that you can still hear the music as clearly as normal headphones when they're not even in your ears. So yeah, it's cool. So in regards to the state of play right now and getting back to sort of the consumer electronics industry and COVID, I mean, obviously most of Europe is in lockdown at the moment, although there does seem to be some light at the end of the tunnel now. What's the sort of state of play in China right now? Are you guys still locked down like the rest of us, or is there been a bit of easing?
In China, everything starts back to normal, as we have been locked down from January to March, which every Chinese has been locked in their homes to spend their biggest holiday in a year, which is the Chinese New Year. It's like every people in UK have been locked in their home to spend their Black Friday and Christmas, and that was a disaster. And that is what we have been through. But like everyone is back to work in office now. And I felt that people in China has been got out of the tension mood. And in a more macro view, the economy has been hugely impacted. The top three industry has been harmed is catering, tourism, and entertainment, especially offline entertainment like clubs, cinemas, those industries which highly rely on their offline business. And the catering, I just read a data last week, is that the catering industry in China has been dropped almost like 40 to 45% compared to last year.
Yeah, well, our government was saying that in Q2 of this year, the GDP will drop something like 35%, which is, I don't think that's ever happened before. So it'd be interesting to see how the economy bounces back. So you guys were in lockdown. Was it before Chinese New Year or during Chinese New Year? Because wasn't it before? Wow.
Chinese New Year.
Yeah, I thought it was during because if I remember rightly, we were still talking. And then everybody locked up for Chinese New Year in China, obviously. And then nobody came back to the big towns. And that's when the lockdown started. I didn't realize it was before.
It's a little bit before Chinese New Year because Chinese New Year was on the end of January and the beginning of February. So
yeah, and you were saying as well to me that even your bigger supermarkets were locked down as well. So you had to kind of rely on like stocks of food that you already had in the house. You couldn't really go out and buy that much food.
No, but the government the government sent a crew to deliver food to different people, and especially in Wuhan. So like the government they keep people in hotel and to isolate them from the public, but they will still provide food. But you are right. Yeah, the big supermarket has been locked down because we need to prevent the spreading of the virus.
Yeah, sure. And so was the virus in China, was it localized in particular regions or just all over China? I mean, I know because China's obviously a big country as well, right?
Wuhan was the most serious city that had been locked down. And I think the rest of other cities, well, it's just fine. Like just there was not that restrict like Wuhan. So like the government just give policy to tell people stay at home, and every Chinese citizen just follow the instructions to stay at home. But Wuhan was the most serious city that had been locked down.
Yeah. And do you get fed much information about what's going on outside of China in terms of all the other countries and where they are with the lockdown and, number of cases and all that kind of stuff? Do you get a regular update every day?
Yeah, because we have been locked at home. So the only thing we can do is go to the internet and search the information.
Yeah, of course. So, one of the questions which I know I'm going to ask. So I was interested in, as someone who lives in China in Shenzhen, what you think of the American President Trump, because he's been sort of, certainly from when we watch the news in the UK, he's been making very interesting allegations about China maybe not declaring the real number of cases that they've had and deaths, and all sorts of theories going on. I mean, what's your kind of feeling on that? I mean, do you think the numbers were underreported in China, considering it was the epicenter and there've been so many deaths elsewhere, or did China just get on top of it much quicker?
From my personal perspective, I think the fact or the data we get is the same as what everyone else get. So I have no evidence to say or like it's correct or it's wrong or like underreport. But I believe if Trump has the evidence to say that kind of statement or prove that his statement, I think he can just show us the evidence. Otherwise, I think he's just using strategy to distract people's focus to us. And for his statement, I think it's just ridiculous. I believe the most important thing right now is how like everyone in the world should like join together to solve this crisis. Or like for US, how to cure those infected people, because they've already got a lot of infected people. And I think it would be nonsense to accuse China rather than put more energy and save more time to save people. And I think that is the fact. And the fact is China has been started warning the world about this virus a long time ago. And Trump has wasted like almost 2 months, and he's still wasting it. And that's something true. So what I say is just stop blaming other people and do something helpful.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, when the information that we get fed in the UK is all about, how the virus is spreading, what we can do to prevent it, what's coming. Apparently, from today they're starting a vaccine trial in the UK on humans. So everything's aimed right towards kind of what's best for the country and kind of how we move forward and how we get out of it. Whereas you watch snippets of Trump's press conferences, and it's like it's almost unbelievable. It's like like watching a TV program or a film, just something outrageous. But anyway, so thank you for your view. Anyway, it's going to be interesting for people in Western Europe to kind of hear your views as someone in China, and it sounds like they're very similar to ours, to be honest. So in regards to the coronavirus and the Aftershokz, I mean, what's sort of been the biggest impact of corona on sales? Is sales slowed down? Have you seen an upsurge in particular areas? I mean, how's it kind of really affected the sales channel?
I think the very first issue is the supply chain. I think due to the globalization, everyone is connected in the world, and there are several stop points in between to let our customers able to purchase our headphones. Anything happened in this process will end up with the disconnection of each point. And for example, we may have suppliers who help get us electronic components from other countries and probably raw materials from local, and anything happen to their business will slow down the productivity of our products. And then it's us, like if our workers couldn't get the permission to back to work, still locked down, we cannot make headphones. That's simple. And after we solve this problem, and the next is we need to export them to different countries, and we are experiencing the increased cost and the delay of transportation. And as many medical supplies are the priority for everyone in the world right now, which is totally understandable.
Yeah.
Furthermore, yeah.
No, sorry, carry on, Tyler.
Yeah, I think furthermore, we have like offline and online business. And for offline, many local stores has been locked down in UK, like Dixon's Travel and Costco. So we can forget about sales in and sales out. For online, we have official web and Amazon. Amazon has been claimed to stop accepting non-essential products in order to save the storage space. And also Amazon has been claimed that they cannot help business to deliver non-essential goods to customers, otherwise they will get fined. That is how we impacted. And our sales on website, we just have no people help out the shipping in UK because everyone has been locked down. So I think the priority for our business is to stay alive and cut the non-essential budget for different activities. And our sales revenue in China has been already dropped 1/3. And we're anticipating a pretty much similar situation for the international market in the next couple of months.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting when you say about Amazon prioritizing deliveries and stuff, but obviously everyone's at home now, and in the UK, and with it, I mean, certainly the first couple of weeks of the lockdown, it was difficult to get non-essential stuff. I mean, all the non-essential items, well, the essential items like, I don't know, toilet paper, hand sanitizer, all the things that were associated with the lockdown, you couldn't order them anyway because they were out of stock. And you could, and everything else that you were ordering was also slowed down because there was obviously restrictions on what was going out of Amazon. But now everything's pretty much whatever I order on Amazon, whether it's, I don't know, printer ink or dental floss or anything I've been ordering, is pretty much coming next day now. So definitely Amazon have got their act together. So everything seems to be operating as normal. So the main issues really were production in the early days, but production's kind of getting back online now, you're saying, because everyone's back back at work. But now it's a case of sales and just kind of the restrictions from the lockdown. So once the lockdown lifts, hopefully that everything will start to bounce back a bit. I did wonder if Aftershokz maybe would see an uplift in sales, just because at the moment, certainly in the UK, and it's really good weather here at the moment, so everyone's very focused on doing fitness while they're at home. When I go out of my when I go sort of do a bit of shopping in the supermarket, there are just, the streets are full of runners, walkers, cyclists, and I just wondered if, like a lot of brands that are associated with remote working, for example, like laptop manufacturers, PC accessories, printers, printer ink, they're seeing like boom times at the moment, because obviously everybody's suddenly buying stuff to work at home. But I wondered if the fitness category was also going to share sort of similar boom, especially as in Western Europe, the temperature starts to go up and more people go outside and start to do fitness again.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So in regards to marketing, everything seems to be going much more digital for obvious reasons for the foreseeable future. There's no sort of signs at the moment that shows like IFA. I mean, IFA I know is definitely not happening now. Gamescom's not happening in Europe. I would be surprised if CES happened next year in January at the moment, just based on kind of, what we're seeing with, travel restrictions. There's no vaccine. I just don't see how we're going to be going to shows until there's a vaccine. Just because if you think of CES, for example, it's the same time of year as, when the outbreak first happened. And also you've got a show which puts, 200 countries in close proximity of each other for 5 days with whatever it is, 250,000 people. It could just reignite the whole pandemic again. Mm-hmm. So, but do you think, this is an opportunity for brands right now to to reevaluate their marketing and just kind of think about, right, if everything's going to go much more digital, it's almost like, right, we need to press the reset button and say, right, there's going to be no shows, no, face-to-face stuff. How do we now readjust our marketing strategy digitally to do that? I mean, is that something you're going through at Aftershokz at the moment?
I think firstly, I totally agree with you that we need to rethink about the digitalization of the business. And IFA just claimed that they were not doing the exhibition this year. Do you know that?
Yeah, no, it was in my question from before, but since I wrote that question, it's now been announced that it's not on anymore.
Okay. I think there is an obvious tendency from offline to online, like people to start to realize that it's not impossible to work from home. So like, why spend lots of money to rent office and not for other valuable investments? And also I think we are seeing a tremendous growth for the online entertainment activities in China. Like many apps, video games, and the social media like TikTok has been growing in between like 50% to 200% in average, and still increasing. Like offline clubs in China are doing cloud raves or cloud vocal concerts in China right now. Wow. And even for us, the manufacturing industry, we are considering to develop an app for our customers who can better enjoy music, connect with each other, and able to use our headphones in different scenarios through the app. And we are also thinking whether we're gonna build a community on the app to basically to do the digitalization of our industry.
Yeah, I suppose the discussion you'd have to have internally there's obviously a lot of apps already that are community based for running, cycling. It's what's the USP of, say, the Aftershokz app, in order to become community based, that's going to pull people away from some of those more mainstream apps that I guess are doing, they're doing very well at the moment too. So do you think exhibitions as they are, do you think moving forward, if let's say the world gets back to normal in a year's time, do you think we'll see, IFA next year in exactly the same format that it was last year? Or do you think there's going to be some irreversible change happening to the way that we kind of, interact as brands now moving forward in the exhibition format?
I think like people still need this kind of events to check out all new products in a short time, but I think it will become digitalized in the future. And if you're asking if offline expos are numbered, I would say they still have the necessity for now. The first reason is hard devices like our headphones experience is important, right? It's hard for customers to make choices without experiencing or listening to through the headphones. And the digitalization right now cannot provide real life experience for now. And I think this the second reason that to prove the expos still has its necessity is due to the aging. I'm seeing the audiences tend to become younger along with the development of new social media platform. For example, the largest segment of users on Facebook is from, I think, 30 to 40 years old, 25 to 34 on Instagram, and 16 to 24 on TikTok. So I believe it takes longer time for middle age and old people to embrace the digitalization of expos.
Yeah.
And another thing I observed is most big expos like CES or IFA, I believe its symbolic meaning is bigger than its practical meaning. Like before the internet era, expos help connect brand, distributors, retailers, and individual customers, which is helpful for business growth. And along with the increased expenses on expos, its marketing meaning gets bigger. It's more like brands say to their customers, like, hey, I'm still alive. I'm still big enough to attend expos. So I believe there is a tendency that more and more small, middle brands are rejecting expos, especially for 2B expos, like they are more preferred by big brands. So all in all, from the perspective of the technology challenge in realizing the digitalization of real life experience, plus the difficulty to accept the digital life by older group, I believe expos, especially offline expos, will last for several years. But will expos become digitalized? I would say yes. Yeah. I think imagine if you can stay at home and use the holographic projection to attend expos, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that about the fact that the expo itself is bigger than the necessity of the event. You know, like CES has been around for so long, it almost becomes, you know, like I've been for the last 25 years, I think. I haven't missed a year. But I think, you know, for me, it's almost like it's a necessity to attend because, you know, it's like lay the foundation for business development. We meet all our clients. We meet everyone in the industry. You know, it's that time to find out what's going on. You know, because it's more. I'd say the event was of more benefit because of the offline interaction between people than actually going to the exhibition itself, because everybody's in the same place. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it plays out. I definitely think some sort of hybrid model will happen. Like, you know, the exhibition will still happen, but I think over time it will definitely scale down, or companies will realize that they don't have to invest so much money in such a big stand. I mean, we've already seen lots of brands over the last few years sort of retreating into like hotel suites, for example, where they still get the benefits of CES happening because everybody's there, but they don't have to share all their new products with all of their competitors at exhibition stands. They can have an amazing suite, pay 1/10 of the price, and then still kind of engage with all the people that they want to engage with. So we'll see. So in regards to marketing, obviously with brands migrating to much more digital-only strategies, do you think there's potentially a skills gap between traditional marketeers and what's required moving forward? Because, you know, if you think of a typical marketing manager in Europe, they would have, you know, a set of skills, and some of them would be organizing exhibitions, print stuff, you know, they're maybe PR focused. They do much, you know, probably 50% traditional marketing activity. But, you know, moving forward, it's more about kind of, I don't know, data, managing like data paid, you know, how to kind of iteratively develop a digital campaign, something that maybe much more of the digital agency specialists would do. But, you know, the marketing managers are going to have to become the people that manage these agencies or kind of understand how this stuff works. So do you think there's going to be a bit of a skills gap with brands now from their marketing departments? They're going to have to kind of relook at how they, you know, staff their marketing departments.
I think so. But the very first thing I think is marketing manager has different levels. So I definitely believe like traditional marketing manager will face more challenge in renewing their techniques. But I think the very bottom logic and skill will stay the same. For example, to understand people, like find and discover their needs and give them what they want in their preferred way to in order to connect with them. I think that's the bottom logic will stay the same. I think we should prevent the formalism in doing marketing as it can be replaced very quickly. For example, let's say if I haven't been to a publishing house, but I'm guessing if a publishing house only do newspaper and magazines and I am the marketing manager at a company, and if I only know how to manage timeline, get sponsorship, talk to people and publish them, then I can be easily replaced by video. But if I know how to do survey, I have the data analytics skill to read customers' behavior through data and make good content to build like real relationship with our customers. I can easily transform those skills in digital. For example, it's just from questionnaire to Google survey, newspaper ads to Google ads, but I have to know how to set up those questions, how to prevent bias through the questionnaires. That's the key factors. It's not really not about how to deliver it, but to understand the bottom logic of each point. So as long as I know those bottom line, all I need is to find out how and which tool I use to use them. So I think it really depends on which kind of skill a marketing manager has.
Yeah, when I find it, the reason why I find this whole question quite interesting is obviously I run a digital marketing agency, and when you look at the agency over, say, 20 years, 10 years ago, the agency was very traditional, and it was much more focused on media, and obviously press was still kind of very much bigger than kind of doing social and digital back then. But, if you take that same set of people over, a period of 10 years, 5 years ago, we're probably in that phase where people were having to think more about integrated campaigns when they kind of put together a communication plan for a client. And it was very difficult to get those people from 10 years ago to start to think in the new way. They always kind of were much more kind of likely to come up with a media-based campaign than they were with a digital campaign. But now kind of in our agency, everyone's much more digital focused, but that's more probably through, hiring people that are more digital focused. It's kind of quite hard to get, you've obviously gone to Aftershokz and you've come in and done one thing, but you've learned lots of things and you're very keen to learn all these different skills because, that's what you need to do to make the marketing department at Aftershokz successful. But in agencies, people they can be very, they like doing, say, social media, and they only want to do social media. They don't want to do, the media side. So, when you need people that are much more kind of integrated and much more, and being nimble enough to kind of think in that new way all the time, it can be a struggle. And I just wondered, especially within brands, maybe, the brand people are even more, because they focus on one brand and they're kind of sometimes only really have available to them what they've come up with themselves. Whereas in agencies, we've got lots of people to bounce ideas off who are all kind of into digital marketing. So I just wondered if, there would be potentially a skills gap moving forward, with brands, and the brands that are, that have much more digital focused marketing people will kind of, accelerate much quicker.
I think so, yes. And matter of fact, the digitalization is not only for marketing and sales. We are even considering to digitalize to manage the factory, to connect the gap between the production line and the marketing line and the sales line, and just connect every department of the company. And probably we can see the data from the human resources department from the future to see which one is better fit our position. And it's just not really only for the marketing and sales. I think it's happening everywhere.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting times. So look, Tyler, that was my last question. So I think, I know you're a busy guy and it's 10 o'clock at night over there, so I don't want to keep you up all night. So
No
look,
worries.
I hope we're going to see us. I think we're going to meet each other face to face soon. I think the last time was at CES, wasn't it? So that was amazingly only what, 4 months ago, and how much the world has changed in 4 months. So yeah. So look, thank you for your time, and yeah, let's keep in touch, and we'll speak very soon.
Thank you, Pietro.